Well, hello there, whiskey mates. It's Luke. I'm doing some whiskey tasting, some nosing, having a good time. Today, I will be tasting some more peated whiskeys. I couldn't stay away from them for very long. I just did a series on Macallan sherried whiskeys and sherry, and my peated whiskeys have been piling up a bit. So I thought I'd go back to them, and before I finish the bottles, do a couple comparison videos. So today will be Ardbeg. The next one will probably be Ardbeg as well. And I don't know what will happen after that. Today's Ardbegs will be the Ardbeg 10, which I got about a third of a bottle left, and the Ardbeg Uigeadail, which is one of their fancier whiskeys. This is actually the first Ardbeg I bought. I don't know why. It just I liked the name. I think I saw a review somewhere that was comparing Ardbegs, and this was a favorite of the reviewer. So I'll put the Ardbeg Uigeadail there, and I'll start with the Ardbeg 10. So Ardbeg 10 is their standard offering. It's bottled at 46%. It's non-chill filtered, no caramel coloring, and this is what the bottle looks like. So I don't know whether the Ardbeg 10 is used in the Uigeadail. If they take the Ardbeg 10 and then mature it in different casks, or how the two whiskeys relate. But this should be an interesting comparison, since they are, at the very least, both Ardbegs. So let's see what we get here. Okay, so I've done a few other videos on Ardbeg, but I have yet to compare it to their more fancy, the Ardbeg expressions. So we'll see how this goes. The color on this, it's very pale, the Ardbeg 10, and it's on my scale. It's like amber -4 plus more than that, but even less amber. Very pale, because they're not coloring it. So on the nose, it's very sour. A little pepper, a little cream, sour, like lemon, lime, bright, a little bit hot in the nose, slightly salty. It's as far as sweetness goes, it's quite dry. There's not a whole lot of sweetness coming through. Compared to other peated whiskeys, this is the most sour of all the peated whiskeys I've tried. Most of the other ones are kind of a deeper brown sugar nose, and this one's just very bright and fresh. As far as nuts go, this is like an almond. Okay, taste. Big blast of smoke in the beginning, and then it gets a little hot, then it kind of finishes off with like a little bit of a leatheriness, some salt, and just kind of a warm smokiness. Very nice. Okay, I'm gonna add a little water and see if I can get any more out of this. So I'm expecting that. Now both of these are very peaty. I'm not really mentioning the smokiness, but they're very smoky. What I'm trying to do is get past the smoke and see what else is in there, because the smoke is really something I like, but there's a lot more going on in here than just smoke. So there's kind of a soda seltzery bubbliness to this, almost like a champagne. I mean, there's no actual fizz in this whiskey, but on the nose, it kind of is like a light cream soda or something like that, or 7-Up, more like 7-Up. The fresh nose on this is a really nice change of pace if you've been tasting a lot of, well, sherried whiskeys, which I've been doing, or heavy peated whiskeys like a Lafroig. Nice bright nose. Still. Okay, taste now. So less smokiness now. A little bit more pepper coming through, I think. Maybe a teensy bit more sweetness, but it's still very dry whiskey. And the finish, still similar kind of warm smokiness. Hasn't changed much in that respect. Okay, let's move on to the Uigeadail. So this Uigeadail, I believe, is bottled at cask strength. It's 54.2% alcohol. It doesn't say cask strength on the bottle, but I have to imagine that it is cask strength. This is what it looks like. So non-chill filtered in gold there. 54.2% alcohol. Your standard Ardbeg font. And on the back, a little bit of descriptive text about what you can expect to taste. It says they have married together traditional deep smoky notes with the luscious sweet raisiny tones of old ex-sherry casks. So this is, I guess if I could describe it short in simple terms, it's like cask strength Ardbeg 10 that's been sherried. Something like that. Let's see what we get. At least that's what it sounds like based on the label. Okay. So color-wise, this is much deeper amber than the Ardbeg 10, possibly because of the sherry cask. It's like an amber +2. On the nose, I'm already getting a little bit of a sherry note. Interestingly, it's not as hot on the nose as the Ardbeg 10 is. I think probably the sherry helps to bring that hotness down, the fresh, burning alcohol nose. Kind of gives it a bit more of a brown sugar sweetness that doesn't hurt the nose as much. Probably the citrus that's coming out of the Ardbeg 10 is affecting that hot nose as well. So sherry, it's kind of a musty nose, dense. Not getting as much of a saltiness as the Ardbeg 10, but if I had to describe it in sea terms, it smells like a boat, a wet, salty boat to me, I guess. Just like a wet woodiness, a slight saltiness. I have yet to smell a seaweed note in a whiskey. I don't know what that's really like. Fruit-wise, this one is if I it's very peppery, and it's hard to pick out a fruit. But I think the closest thing that I'm getting is that sherry note, which is kind of like a raisin dried fruit nose. Okay, let's have a taste. It's a little bit hot in the mouth. to get much. I got a little bit of a sherry note. On the finish, as it's kind of tapering off, it's like a ham kind of note. Like a somewhere between just a fresh, wet piece of ham and a cooked piece of ham. I'm going to add some water because I'm not getting what I expect out of this. I know there's a lot more going on. So now that I've added water, I'm getting quite a bit more sherry. The smoke is not so overpowering. It's a little bit waxy and sweet, kind of like wax lips. Like a white sugar, just a teensy bit of white sugar and a waxiness. There's a little bit of, I think it's probably the pepper note that's affecting this. It's the pepper combined with the wood that's giving me a bit of a pininess. Okay, taste. Yeah, now much more sherry initially, and then it kind of, you get a lot of smoke, and then you get a bit of an alcohol hit, and then it finishes with more sherry, sweetness, raisiny, brown sugar, and that smoke is just kind of there, lifting and holding it all up. Interesting. Okay, so side by side, this is like floral and fresh, the Ardbeg 10. And the Ardbeg Uigeadail is leathery, deep notes. So just if you want to see here, color-wise, the Ardbeg 10 here on this side of the screen, whatever that is, left or right, and then the Uigeadail here is much more amber in color. They're both getting a little cloudy, and that's expected because they're not chill filtered. Both of these are really fun whiskeys to nose. Just sit there and sniff. It's really, they smell good. When you compare them side by side, it's a lot easier to pick up on the sherry note in the Uigeadail. Because it almost makes the Ardbeg 10 smell bland by comparison. Because I think a lot of the notes that are in the Ardbeg 10 are also in the Uigeadail, but the Uigeadail has a little bit more going on because of that sherry influence. I'm getting that soda note again. That's very interesting. It's more of a cream soda now than a 7-Up. A little bit more sweetness going on. Creaminess. And then sherry here. Interesting. This is a very good comparison to try out if you've got both bottles. If you don't have both bottles and you're trying to pick one, I actually would recommend the Ardbeg 10 to start because it's cheaper. Cask strength whiskeys can be a lot of work, I think. Although they're pretty good value for the money if you're the kind of person who adds water, because they'll go a lot further. But both of these are really good. I'd say start with the 10, like I said. Not much more to say than that. Both great. Okay, so next time I'll probably be doing something with another Ardbeg. Maybe the 10 and another Ardbeg. And then after that, probably another Ardbeg, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So look forward to that, and I will talk to you next time.